Mother's Day garden tour, May 2025. This is the first garden tour that I've posted. I've taken videos for myself. I haven't really shared it, but I thought I would this year. You can see, I'd like to start right here on the right. I've got some strawberries and asparagus bed going good. We've been picking quite a bit of strawberries and asparagus. Some asparagus has been the size of a thumb. I mean, it's been huge this year. And then we got some random tomatoes popping up. Usually our chickens are in our garden maybe about December through February, and so they scatter a lot of seeds. Here's a couple of raised beds my husband built me out of those cedar posts. Got a Meyer lemon, have a mandarin orange right there in front, and you can see some of the oranges shining. So in these I have lettuces, I have some bok choy, I've got a few onions. This one here I have broccoli and some other kind of bok choy, and I'm just trying to keep all the worms out of it as long as I can. And then on this side we've got a trellis with some cucumbers. They're already putting on cucumbers, so we'll have those soon. There's a mint plant that's been going for several years. I'm afraid to plant it because I know it'll take off on me, so I just kind of keep it in a bucket. And then if you look down this whole side on the left side, I've planted green beans and they're starting to sprout. I just saw them today for the first. I planted them last weekend and I saw them start to come up today. And then you can see there's two big rows of tomatoes. I think there's about 80 of them or so. Plus there's another 50 just growing here and there everywhere that I let grow, and then I'll transplant them in or do something with them. You can see we have hay through the aisles of the tomatoes, and then down the main pathway we've got some mulch, and I also put mulch around the tomatoes a little bit. We're trying some straw bale gardening this year. We got some zucchini and cucumbers and tomatoes growing in there. That's one thing I do, is if I find a random tomato, I'll just throw it in there, or squash. I'll just throw it in there and see what happens. Come over here, I got another orange, and then here's my onion bed. I have red, yellow, and white onions, and there's about 20 tomatoes that are just sprouting up in the middle of that I've got to remove. I did not plant those from seed, but about everything else in the garden I have. The peppers, when I get to the peppers, I usually buy them at the store because I only get 2 or 3 of each. I don't need a whole packet to start and plant them. And then I've got carrots started at the end of that second bed, and then some other onions here. Those are Walla Walla onions, I believe. And then if I work down here, you can see when my tomatoes, I have carrots interplanted. I have onions, some more Walla Walla onions interplanted. I got carried away with onions this year. And then I have some, further on down, I have some Swiss chard. I want to say there's some beets somewhere in with some tomatoes. I've got some different things. Here's some more Walla Walla onions, and these are my zucchini row. Started those from seed. These things are huge, and I already have zucchinis on about half of them, so maybe the end of the week might be eating some zucchini. Then I have lettuces, some cabbage, and then I've got some other little sprout things growing at the end. I'm trying to protect from the bugs. Here's my peppers along that row. Again, what I do is I'll go to Lowe's or some store, and then I'll buy a container, and if they have a couple plants in them, I usually grab those, and I'll get a little 2-for-1 deal, and I buy them like when they have their sales, buy 4 for $12 or 5 for $12 or whatever that is, and I'll get me some pepper plants, and then that's about it, because we don't eat that many peppers. I've just sown or planted today random things in there. I've just a bunch of old seeds. I have a bag that's got old packages of seeds from a few years back, and so I just made me 3 rows. I planted everything random in there, so we'll just see what comes up. And then as I work my way down, again, I talked about zucchini. If you look down at it, you can already see 2 zucchini shining right there. And like I said, probably planting or picking those at the end of the week. Again, tomatoes and more tomatoes. These sun gold Sugar cherries or sun sugar cherries are so good. They're some of my favorite. Here I have a trellising squash. Here I've got 2 trellises where I planted some long beans. They have not sprouted up yet, but I do have some butternut squash growing there to trellis up this. Now this little contraption here, we've got some potatoes growing in another garden, but I told my husband he could grow potatoes in a round fence if he just put hay on there. He didn't believe me. He actually, like just until a couple of days ago, thought he was just going to tear it down. I said, no, give it time. And if you can see, we've got potatoes shoots starting to come out the sides and on the top. It's hard to see on the back side, but they're coming out, and I made a believer out of him. Okay, here we go. We got squash. If you look, I've got 3 or 4 squash. May have some squash and zucchini at the end of the week. And so here's my yellow squash. I don't know why that one's off out of line. And then I have patty pan and lemon ball squash. We're going to run like a little fence line to help hold those up because these things will go crazy. And then the last of our tomatoes are on that line. I've got some Roma, I think, on this back section. Got 3 fig plants and 16 blueberry plants that are growing along this wall. Trying to think as I pan around one more time. We live on a lake. You can probably hear the sound back there. We'll scan it all the way back around. See our little greenhouse. It's a chicken coop / greenhouse. Usually we put chickens in the winter for them to go in the garden. And I think that's it. Thank you for viewing.